We're getting salt still.
Smart.
Got a connection.
Alrighty. Lost my pen, didn't I?
You guys are doing something.
I give you one. I chew on mine.
Oh,
It's
do you
all
need a
right. Okay
pen?
with that.
I got
one.
Hi, Josh.
sorry.
Hey.
You guys do too. When you-
Jerry, do you have a Chief? You have an extra pen?
I
Oh, you're not taking my.
Oh, you got one? I got one right here. Hey, watch out! That white shirt, the pen could bleed through pretty easily there.
I dress up once in a while.
Alrighty, let's get this started. We have a quorum called to order the meeting here at 6:30 at 2/24/2026. Begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Alrighty. Amendments to the agenda. We were just gonna say, move Casella up to the first order of new business, unless the representative wants to hang out for most of our meeting. So, does that work for folks? All right, so I would motion to move Casella up to the first order of new business. Do I have a second?
One second.
Any questions or discussion? All right. All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, it passes unanimously. All right, public comment. Do we have any public comment? Okay.
What are we discussing tonight?
So do you have a copy? Do we have a copy of the agenda?
I don't see nothing about the bags in here, just.
This is just tonight's discussion is going to be with Casella about the trash pickup. The bag discussion will be at a future meeting because those are two separate companies. So, alrighty, any public comment? All right. Seeing none. All right. Do I have a motion to approve last meeting's minutes? Motion from Deb. Do I have a second from John? Any questions? All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, passes unanimously. Alrighty, so automated trash collection discussion with Casella. So we have a representative from Casella here to give us this presentation, and we also have the opportunity to ask some questions. Just so you know, we have this is live stream. We encourage folks to tune in tonight because it's been a very lots of discussion and questions and stuff like that. So we also, I'll let you present here, but we solicited a lot of questions from the community. So we have those if they don't get covered in the conversation.
We can
So-
run through high level, whatever's in the
Mhm.
presentation, there's going to be questions after, so feel free to stop me as
Yeah.
I'm talking and whatever we don't address, we can.
Yeah.
Address it
Hey,
there.
Mr. Chair,
Awesome.
could she identify herself?
Yeah. If you could just identify yourself, let us know who you are and what you're here
My
for.
name is Talia Webster, I'm the municipal account manager for Casella Waste in Southern Maine.
Alrighty. Thank you.
So the first slide here, I have a general timeline. This is a timeline that we've discussed with Jerry and Calvin. Cards are ordered and we want to get the ball rolling with this automated transition. So we've agreed on beginning of April. Right now, we're thinking that cart distribution is gonna take about a week. Durham's not a very big town, so we'll have an extra few days to clean up. That's why that Saturday, the 13th and the 14th are also highlighted. Our experience from all of these rollouts is there's gonna be a few days we're gonna have to do some cleanup. Meaning, for whatever reason, a resident didn't get a cart. All they have to do is call us by a certain date if they didn't get a cart, and we'll have one dropped off to them before the start of automation.
Just a quick question about that. So how is that, can you describe how that process is gonna look
Yeah.
in terms of driveways and people being home, not home, et cetera?
Yeah, so
Jessica, do you have another copy of
Yeah.
the slide, Becky?
we'll kind of get into that later, but I'll kind of briefly address it now. So we work with a third-party distribution company called Waste Support Systems. We project manage the whole process, but we've worked with them on the majority of the transitions that we've done in Southern Maine. So essentially what we do to start that process is we get an assessor list from the town hall. We go through that assessor list, we identify multi-units, we identify ADUs to make sure that, those multi-units are getting multiple sets of carts versus just being delivered one. We take all the businesses out to ensure that only residents are getting the carts and not businesses. And then we give that list to Waste Support Systems. And they'll deliver by route date. So if we're starting distribution on the Monday, Wednesday we'll get their carts before they move on to Thursday, before they move on to Friday.
Right, so, I mean, is it dropped off at the end of a driveway?
So it's
Is it,
It's dependent on if you're on a private road versus public. Typically, they will drop the carts off at the end of your driveway. If they don't, if it's a private road and it's a little iffy on whether they wanna go down it with their truck or not, they'll leave them, at the top of the road in like a group pile situation where people would normally put their trash out.
okay,
Could you describe or define cart? Is it just the two bins? Is it some kind of base platform
Yep.
that they sit in or?
It's a cart, so, it's a wheeled bin, it has a lid and it's 65 gallons, so they'll get one for trash and one for recycle. The trash bin will have a black lid and it will say for trash
Yep.
only, the recycle will have a blue lid so that the resident and the driver can easily identify.
Okay, but the word cart equals two bins.
Yeah.
And you say cart
Carts,
distribution. Yep,
Bin
okay.
cart.
Mhm.
Yep.
We call them carts.
Okay.
So that actual first day of automation is gonna be on Wednesday, the 15th. So again, we'll have that week and a half to make sure carts are distributed. And then we'll start rolling out the new truck on Wednesday, the 15th. So I kind of want to walk through the preparation process because it's not just throw a truck out there and everybody has to figure it out. We've actually put a lot of time and effort into prepping for this transition. So what we do ahead of time is we do a town-wide road evaluation. So we drive the routes, we drive up and down every single road, and what we're looking for is, how do we service this road today? Do we drive down this road? Do we back down this road? Do we have to collect it as a group pile at a main road? Do we one side the road? Meaning, people on the odd side might have to wheel their carts over. I think of Royalsboro as one of them. And we're looking for the most efficient and compliant cart placement locations because we know this is a big change for residents. From this evaluation, we say, okay, here's how we're servicing it today. The truck is a little bit bigger than the one we're using today. So we evaluate just to make sure that the new ASL larger truck is able to maneuver down a road. And what we look for cart placement guidelines is, if we're gonna be able to drive down it, residents will be able to place their carts out as normal at the end of their driveway. If we'll need to back down it, that's gonna be some extra communication out to those residents ahead of time. The automated arm is on one side of the truck, it's on the passenger side, even though the driver drives from that side. So whether it's the even or odd side of the road, we'll have to send a letter to those residents ahead of time saying, hey, the truck has to back down your road, so all of your carts have to be on this side.
Quick
And
question.
that would just be because there's no adequate turnaround at the end.
So
of it.
that's generally gonna be in situations like roads that are for subdivisions and stuff like that, not your state highways or your town roads.
Yeah, yep.
I don't think you're backing down
No.
from 36, so,
No.
yeah.
No, most of those we drive down.
Yeah.
And like I said, they went out and evaluated, and operations does this. Even the roads that we one side today, and we're gonna be able to accommodate residents to be able to drive up and down both sides of the road, so we're
Mhm.
not having residents wheeling their carts across the road.
Yeah, so that was a big question.
Yeah.
Not to jump the gun here, but particularly around Route 125, 136, and Route 9. Especially because we had a fatality last year with someone crossing the road. Will those three roads be able to be pick up on both sides so people
It
can
should
just
be.
okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
it should
And
be.
another concern was people were like, fitting it on the other side of the road, small shoulder. I've snowblowed that shoulder to make room for the bins, and it's a little sketchy with the tractor in the middle of the road. So that for those three roads, they should be both
Should be
sides
able to
now.
two-sided.
Okay.
We've gotta do a little bit of a reroute, so we'll continue the communication on that and what that's gonna look like, but we should be able to accommodate
Okay.
that.
so just in kind of line with what Joe is asking, with people who are on other roads, and if the placement is going to be opposite or different from what residents are used to, how will Casella make that
We've already identified those roads,
Have
so
you?
we're gonna send a letter ahead of time.
already,
Okay.
even to the regular people? Not that you on 125, you're not
Right, so
regular,
like
but you know.
everybody on that road will get a letter regardless if they're on the odd side or the even side.
Mhm.
Okay,
Just, we know people talk too, so if someone on the odd side sees it, someone on the even side doesn't, they can try to communicate with their neighbors.
and is that going with what you had in the document for the layout of everything? along with it? Page 7
The
that you
mailer?
had, the mailer.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So that mailer will be sent out ahead. We're actually looking to send it out the next couple of weeks now that we have the dates down. We'll obviously get approval on timing from the town before we send anything out, and we'll keep you updated so you all know that something is going out. But around that same time, the mailer is just meant for a general, hey, here's what's going on, carts are coming. You don't have to be home to receive them. If you're concerned that you won't be home, you can call us ahead of time and we can put it on a hold until you come back. We've done that in other communities too. We'll have an operations team out ahead of the truck for the first couple of weeks of automation, or first few weeks, just to make sure everything's running smoothly for the truck and for the residents. So we'll be driving around ahead of the truck. Any cart placement issues, we'll be moving them to help out the driver, but we'll also be tagging them to let the resident know, hey, this was too close to a mailbox. For next week, make sure it's at least, 3 to 5 feet away from the mailbox. The concern there is that we don't want the automated arm to rip your mailbox out of the road, but
We already gotta
Pretty
watch
much.
out for the plows,
Yeah,
so.
right.
pretty much any fixed object, we don't want carts around. And then if they're too close together, all of the marketing that we send out says 3 feet, but realistically, 1 foot between those carts is fine, because we know spacing becomes an issue on some of the busier roads.
Did you say you'll have those lookouts for the first couple weeks of
Yeah.
implementation?
Yep.
Okay. And I also have a question. Will the town receive like a summary of any changes that you're going to communicate out to the
Yes.
residency so we can post on our website if people
Yeah.
want to look up certain things?
Yes, absolutely.
They
So
can see
the
it. Okay.
evaluation list that we have,
Yes.
we'll actually provide that, and
Okay.
we encourage you to post it on your website. So if someone maybe missed a letter or something, and they want to know where to place their cart, they can just check the town website,
Yeah.
pull up the road name, and it'll say, back down, drive down, or group pile. There are still going to be some group pile locations. That's something we're not going to be able to fix with those private roads that we can't send our trucks down, but those people will know that ahead of time. And it's more or less the ones that group pilot today. So there won't be really any surprise there. The only difference is now, you're dragging the cart up the road versus whatever your personal bin is or just your bag. With that, some towns are different, and I think we talked about this last week, Jerry. If you're willing to allow the residents to leave their carts at the top of their roads, kind of off to the side until collection day, nothing changes for them other than they've got to bring their bag, put it in the cart, and then just make sure it's curbside so the truck can collect it that week, that day.
So everybody will get a letter that says whether they're a peculiarity or not, everybody's gonna get a letter that says you're an outside guy.
Right.
That you're
Yep.
okay.
So any road we back down or any group pile road will get a letter letting them know.
What about just the road I live on? Right now, everything's on one side. What you're saying is it could be on both sides.
Right, with those roads, I think, like I said, Rosebar is one of them. We'll send letters to those folks as well, just to let them know they don't have to drag them across.
Okay, because I'm not a weird road. It's, Stackpole, so it's, okay. So it's just
Yeah.
weird people
So
live
any
on my
kind of
road.
anomalies, we'll make sure that communication goes out ahead of time. Like I said, we'll provide the list to the town as well. So we can always refer back to encourage residents to check the town website for any changes.
Okay, so just to be clear, so status quo, people will not get letters if nothing
Right.
changes. If
Right.
you just
If
put
nothing
your,
changes,
right.
you won't get a letter.
Okay,
But you will get the new guidelines.
Right.
Yeah.
get the notice that they
Yeah.
come. Okay.
All of this being said, with all of the preparation work, there is going to be some things that we come across when we actually get the truck out there and that we may have to change. So we just like to let everybody know, there's gonna be ongoing changes.
Mhm.
We try to minimize it by preparing, but there's only so much preparation we can do until we actually get the truck out there. So anything that changes after the fact, there will be communication to the town and the resident.
What do you do? So, I mean, I've got a picture 2 weeks ago where the top third of my trash can got taken off. Which is not the first time. 2 weeks before that, I lost one of the wheels. A week after I spent 100 and whatever on it, I lost the cover, the recycle bin. It's cracked. Still, the rest of it's still together somehow. But I took a picture of it. Just like, am I going to be responsible for replacing that?
No, so, Casella is managing the cart program for the residents, so if there's anything wrong, whether it be the wheel, body, the lid, it goes missing, someone takes it, you call Casella and we get a replacement out to you.
There was somebody had mentioned a while ago that there's a barcode on all of
There
the
is.
individual ones, so that is the barcode that is registered to the resident.
So there's no way for the truck to read the barcodes today.
Right.
But upon initial distribution, we'll have a list, so it'll have everyone's address, how many carts they were delivered, and what those barcodes or serial numbers are tied to that address.
So if, for instance, we live next to each other, but Josh's bin ends up in my driveway and mine is in a ditch somewhere, we'll know by the barcode or like with the serial number or whatever it is.
If you write the serial number down, you would know.
Right, okay.
But again, if something's in a ditch and it goes missing, just call us and we'll come out and replace it.
Will the Casella app be user-friendly in regards to follow-up, or can I contact you through the Casella app?
Yeah, so we haven't done this in another community yet, but we have the ability to set up a cart order tab. So what that would mean is when you're looking at the app, there's obviously like the need help section, there's the calendar, and there's the waste wizard. You can add, if this is something you want to move forward with, we can add a cart order app or tab in there. So if a resident needs a replacement, they can communicate with us directly instead of having to call in. Otherwise, they can use the need help section and just say, my recycling toner cart, I need a new one.
Does the town end up paying for these replacements?
No.
None at all?
Nope.
Okay.
That's all included in the program.
What's usually the turnaround time for when someone requests a new bin or something?
So we say 7 to 10 business days, but it's usually much quicker than that. That's just the expectation that we set. We try to get it to them before their next collection day.
I don't want to jump. Oh, go ahead, John.
No, I just make sure it's the Recycle 101 app.
Yep, recycle better with Casella.
Okay, the reported problem is that,
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you go to that need help section, there's like report missed collection. And then I think there's two below that, it might say I have another issue or another problem. If you click on that, it's kind of like a free form. You just have to, you have to provide your phone number, your name, your email, just so we can contact you back.
But there's a non-app option if someone just wants to call and
Yep,
say,
you can
okay.
call us.
All right.
Yep.
I don't want to jump the gun, but while we're on the question of bins, so some of the comments we've received are about the bin size being pretty large, especially we've had some of our more elderly residents reach out and say like, that's a pretty unwieldy size for me. Do all of the bins have to be that size, or is there an opportunity to request a smaller bin?
All of the bins we have ordered for the transition are 65 gallon. What we have found in other transitions in other towns is that while people think they're big, they have a lot more capacity than a smaller cart would. So if you, I don't know what's going on with the pay as you throw program, but say that goes away. Now you only have that 65 gallon cart. That might change things in terms of what's coming out as trash. We ask people to try them out for 2 weeks, because what we found in other communities again is, I want smaller cars. Hey, actually, these are working out for me, so I'm going to keep these. We will work with people after that initial 2-week period on a smaller cart option if it deems necessary.
Okay, makes sense.
Does anybody remember just on that? No. Oh, it's a 33 gallon for the large bags. Is that right? No.
Yeah, the pay as you go bags
Right.
come in tall kitchen, which is 13 or bigger, which is 33 gallon.
Right. Okay. I see
Yeah.
now. Okay.
Okay.
one of the things that we were told was, at the end, instead of leaving it like along the road like you do now, we can sort of lead them up the driveway. Is that something we can do?
What do you mean out the
Like,
driveway?
instead of, if this is the driveway, instead of leaving them here, I can put one here and one here, and the arm can reach that.
No, so we need them to be curbside. Yeah, it can reach up to 12 feet, but if there's one stacked behind another, we can't get that one behind it.
Okay.
So we want them side by each and as close to curbside as possible.
Okay.
They can, if it's like feedback, that's not a big deal,
I-
but it's also about visibility for the driver too.
Mhm.
Depending on the visibility on the road, we wanna make sure they can see it, they don't just drive by because they can see it.
Mhm. Another question on carts. I had someone ask today, is there opportunity if a house is a high volume trash or high volume recycling house to request a second bin?
So the way we have the contract built today is everybody gets one trash and one
Mhm.
recycle. If it starts to become a problem, that's something we can revisit, but we try to avoid giving out extra cards to control volume.
Yeah, I was thinking about that because like I produce a lot of recycling, so currently there's times where I put out 2 recycling containers, but neither one of my containers are 65-gallon containers, so I could probably make it work. And then the
The
wood
other-
stove for
Where
the
we
rest.
see issues with recycling and those 65-gallon containers, if folks aren't breaking their boxes down properly.
Yeah,
So most people just think, oh, I bought like a 32-inch TV, I'll just flatten it and try to stick it in there. If they just take the extra second or minute to
mhm.
cut it up and fit it in there, they'll have a lot more capacity
Yeah.
in there than.
Yeah, so it sounds like through the whole experience of having other communities doing this, the thing is like really give the 2 65-gallon bins a try because it probably is going to assuage most of your concerns. If there is additional issues, then reach out to us and we might be able to figure something out.
Yeah, so
Okay.
the carts weigh about 28 pounds a piece. Where they get really heavy is where people are putting things in them that aren't supposed to be in there that aren't necessarily household trash. So it's really about what you're putting into it. If you're putting normal household trash in there, it's not gonna get that much heavier.
Yeah, but don't put your deer carcass in there
Right,
come November.
exactly. Yeah.
Not that
or like
anyone would
any
do that. Yeah.
Construction material or anything that's really not supposed to be in there.
So then the rule really is if you have more trash than the carts can handle for 1 week, you just need to save that until the following week.
Okay.
Or ask your neighbor.
Or ask your friendly neighbor.
Yes.
Good point.
So just to clarify, when the truck comes around and if the bin is not closed all the way, closed, is that an issue?
It's not. The real issue with the bins being open is, when it's raining or when it's snowing.
Right,
In the winter.
but like recycling poking out.
We prefer it to be closed, especially in the winter months, because what happens is moisture gets in there and then it freezes.
Mhm.
Sometimes that frozen recycling won't come out no matter how hard the driver tries to dump it. Either that or ice will accumulate at the bottom of it. And because it's bottom heavy, as it's being tipped, it'll slip out of the arm into the hopper of the truck.
Following up on that same question, I moved from a place that used this, and a lot of people would just pile it up, so, they would just put it on top of, is that a problem? Or,
You mean
I guess the
like-
question is, how high do they pile it? So the bin is full, and they keep putting bags on top.
Yeah, I would say no more than one bag for
Okay.
that, because what you also run into is as the truck's trying to dump it, you have multiple bags piled on top. There's a chance those bags are falling over, breaking, now there's trash everywhere. A driver will do their best to get out and clean up what they can. But we wanna try to avoid that spillage, if you will.
When you say no more than one bag, what do you mean?
Like,
No,
he was saying if my bin is full and I have extra, can I stack it on top of
Yeah,
each
no,
other?
no Jenga bags
Yeah.
there going on. But
I wouldn't stack it more than maybe one bag.
I have a question. The driver that will be as we move on to implement, will that driver have experience with the truck already?
We
or is
started
it-
training already.
Okay, so,
So they'll be fairly new to it, so it's gonna take a little bit of getting used to for them as well. That's why we have the specific part placement instructions asking for them to be 1 to 3 feet apart from each other.
Mhm.
So he can get in there, and what happens if they're too close sometimes is if he has the fork in there, he can accidentally knock over the recycling bin or the trash bin, whatever one he's not collecting, and then it causes a mess. But as they get comfortable with it, they'll be able to pick up anything, no problem. The one thing I did also want to mention, about the carts is if you have overflow for your trash, please do not put that in your recycling bin. We want to try to avoid contamination. Right now, there's a guy in the back of the truck that's able to monitor that. With the bins, it's gonna be a little bit harder for us to monitor that, but the education up front is we want the recycling to remain clean. So if there's any overflow, we start to notice, we will let the town know, and then likely we'll be able to contact that resident.
Speaking of that, is there any sort of tracking system you all use to say like every week Jerry is messing up his recycling, so we're just not going to pick up from him anymore? Is there anything like that?
So the drivers have a camera.
Not that Jerry would do that, but you know what I
The
mean.
drivers have a camera in the hopper. They can see what's being dumped. So if they notice something crazy is in there that's not recyclable, like a TV's in there every week, they'll let dispatchers know, and then we can communicate that with the town. Other than that, unfortunately, the material is already being dumped into the truck.
Mm-hmm.
The driver will get out and tag it, regardless, but there's technology that you can monitor recycling with. The downside to the technology is it's an added cost, and it's
Mhm.
an extra 20 to 30 grand a year to have that on the truck.
Mhm.
Following up on the camera, you said there's a camera in the hopper.
Yep.
So if somebody's got a pay as you throw on top and a black bag underneath, the driver sees that?
They do, they will, yeah.
Mm.
Yes.
How? So you mentioned if we're getting a little to a side here because we're parallel to this, we're
Right.
talking about pay as you go. And we've talked with that company about them doing some audits and stuff like that to ensure compliance. And I'm sure you all work with plenty of pay as you go bags. Do you find that the driver cannot be the police of pay as you go? That if they might be able to catch things from time to time, but you can't rely on them to be the that bag's wrong.
Right.
We're not picking
Some
up.
of them will be able, they'll be able to call it in. They're pretty good at remembering stops too. So
Yeah.
they'll do their best to say, hey, I've been to this house 3 weeks in a row, and they're not using pay as you throw bags.
Mhm.
But you're correct. We can't solely rely on them. At the end of the day, they've got to focus on getting that
Mhm.
route done and getting home safely.
Yeah, because I know like right now, there's a lot of compliance issues with even our tags.
Yeah.
People cutting tags in half. There's
Mhm.
counterfeit tags. There's people just putting up yellow flagging or whatever,
Mhm.
and we're not expecting the drivers to kick the trash back into the driveway if something's wrong. But I wasn't sure if it sounds like they kind of just as they go might keep in the back of their head, but it's not their primary
Right.
responsibility. Okay. And just I thought I heard you say something ballpark for future consideration if we decided to go the route of video monitoring. You said somewhere in the $20,000 annually.
20 to 30 grand. Yeah. So what that fee will cover would be the cost of the equipment installed on our trucks, and then the data and the software. So there's a software that's
Mhm.
a monthly fee that is included with that as well.
Alrighty.
So that's a yearly cost or a one-time?
Yearly cost. So there's two ways we can do it. We can look at it. You can either pay for the equipment up front and then pay monthly the subscription and data fees, or you can choose to do everything at monthly cost.
Mhm.
It's more cost effective to pay for the equipment up front. North Yarmouth is using the technology now for their pay-as-you-throw program. Not necessarily their recycling contamination, but the AI technology was originally developed to monitor recycling contamination. It's
Mhm.
working well for what North Yarmouth needs it to do, but
Mhm.
there's a cost.
Another question that was brought up, and I know we're kind of jumping all over the place here. Now that there's an arm going out and grabbing stuff, what's the liability look like for Casella if they reach out and they knock the driver knocks over a mailbox or does some sort of property damage or something like that?
So the driver should be reporting that in immediately, and then we will try to get contact information for that resident if they haven't called already. Most of the time they've called already. We've got a separate queue for those kind of complaints. And then we have our operations team get right on those, and we will absolutely, if we cause damage, replace the mailbox, the big pit, basketball hoops, fences, so we'll take care of
Yeah,
that.
okay, cool.
Can we talk about the new calendar also? The dates, so the. because
Oh,
they're
yeah.
changing. Do we wanna,
Yeah.
how's that being, is that also going to all the residents when they get the new, snow out or the dates?
Their new pickup date,
Yeah,
day of the week.
The days of the week should not be changing.
they are, well, I get my trash picked up on a Friday.
Yeah, so we're running, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
First, yes, that's right. So that would be, oh, but this says it's. Wait, but that says Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Does it? Yeah, that's probably just a typo.
What-
These
what
are just
page?
drafts.
I'm on page 7, so all of the schedule is just Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, so I'll fix that.
Okay, so
But
that
nothing,
was just,
nothing changed. over the
okay,
time, yeah.
all right. I was very confused about it. Okay.
That's why I didn't have much of it.
Okay, so so there's no changes in any residents pickup
No,
dates?
all the pickup
Okay.
dates are the same.
All right.
That's good to know.
Do you expect the timing of the pickup to be earlier? I mean, will the truck like go faster?
So the theory is automation is quicker,
Mhm.
but for the first couple of weeks, it may not seem that way, because again, we're trying to work through all of the challenges,
Yeah.
but, I would say eventually the route will be done faster. But for the first few weeks, if the truck's not there at the normal time, please wait to call it in until the end of the day. That way, if the truck's still out there and we're having issues or anything like that, it'll give them time to get to you by the end of the day.
Speaking of that, the paper here, and I know a lot of the communications that get out, and I was trying to find one earlier today, and I couldn't. It says have the trash out by 6 a.m. I thought our contract said 7 a.m.
So where is that one?
On
Page
the
7.
page 7, where it talks about the winter card information.
Yeah, so we have that, try to have your road plowed and treated prior to 6 a.m. That way, by the time 7 a.m. rolls around.
Oh, I see what it says here.
Right.
It
Yeah.
says, if you live on a
Have it
private
treated
road.
before
have
seven
it,
a.m. That way, by the time the truck gets there, we'll be able to get down the road.
Yeah, but I think the emails say have it out by 6.
Yeah.
Was I reading them wrong?
That's what Casella has said.
Right, and I just want to make sure it's 7, not 6, because.
I'll confirm with, our operations manager on what time we start the route. But that is specifically more so around the winter
Right.
time, just to try to prepare, because we know plows are gonna be out. Private roads contract with, their own people, which are a
Very.
challenge in itself during the winter, but
Mhm.
we try to have the road plowed, sanded, salted before that, and then that way, by the time the trucks get out, they're not gonna have to call it in because it's not treated.
And then I'm really stuck on the placement of the carts, and I don't know why I'm so stuck on
I
them.
got a question, is there any way you could work in unison with the public works department in the winter? So if they're placed in the driveway, that's fine, but what happens is, well, obviously the snowbanks, they put them out the driveway.
Yeah.
You got a truck coming down with a wing, and he's gonna choose that bin over a
Take it out,
car,
yeah.
so,
Mhm.
he doesn't want to, but, I mean, that's
Yeah,
a
I
tough,
mean, we
tough.
can, that's something we can talk through.
If it's in the driveway, it doesn't seem to be an issue.
Right. So
Normal.
we try to tell people to treat your cart location like you would your mailbox, so you're typically gonna shovel your mailbox for the mail person that's coming through. Try to keep I know it's hard with the amount of snow that we have, but try as best as you can to keep a place for your carts during the winter.
I mean, I try to do that. I try to do that with my mail. It's near impossible. I live on Route 9.
Mhm.
And I get home and they're never back there. The last 2 weeks, I've left them leaning back, and still they end up in the road or they end up in the ditch, and I have to decide, do I go in there when I get home from work in my dress shoes, or do I wait and hope they make it to the night or go across in the dark? But the placement, can I leave like one cart on one side of my driveway and one on the other?
We
They don't have
encourage
to, I mean, when it says 1 to 3 feet, it can be more than 3 feet?
Correct,
Okay.
yes, we actually encourage that too, if people are up in the air about, is this, properly spaced or not, if you put one on one side, one on the other, you should be
Mhm.
fine.
In terms of the reach from the arm coming down, so to the point of with a lot of snow, if you can pat down the snow and place the bins on top of a few inches or so, how far of the reach does the arm have? Like, because obviously it's programmed to reach for the bin that's on the road. If it's higher up, is that going to cause an issue?
If it's not like 2 feet up in the air, it shouldn't be a problem.
Okay.
How far away do they have to be from the snowbanks? Like they have to be a foot away from the snowbank? Like,
No.
I'm thinking at the end of my
You can put the
driveway.
Back of it up right against the snowbank if you wanted to. Those arms are just gonna reach in and put it back down where you put it, where you placed it.
Yeah. 'cause I'm
I've
thinking
seen a video
constantly.
online that actually shows the truck.
Yeah, so
Do
we've
you
got.
have something official that we can grab?
Yeah, so
and
we
put
have
on
a
our-
couple of videos on our YouTube channel. One, and I don't know off the top of my head if we use a single commodity truck here or if we're using a dual commodity, but basically the difference is one truck is picking up trash only, and then another truck is coming by with recycling. I think it's a split body truck. But it flies, it's a drone, it flies over the automated truck because it is a split body truck, so we will be collecting trash and recycling at the same time. It shows the two different cavities, because a lot of people will think, oh, Casella is just trash and not recycling and vice versa. So I can send you that, and it shows the truck collecting the carts, and then we have another cart placement specific video, that you can post on the website as well.
Sorry.
No, you go ahead.
Can you do, because I don't, YouTube, my kid uses YouTube and,
Yeah, you can embed them right on the, I don't know if you do your own website or if someone else.
We
will
can, we
do
can
it, but
share that.
We'll
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it
We'll
would
make
be
it
worthwhile
work.
to share.
Share it on social media, just try to get more of
Yeah.
I think that kind of functions the same way as like annually the postal service is sharing. Here's what your postal route wants you to have, clear out X, Y, and Z. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you feel, we live in Maine. We get snow. Some on trash day, you might have to shovel out a little bit earlier or a little bit more. fact of living in Maine, right?
If it's a reoccurring issue at one address, our drivers are pretty good about reporting those, so if it's something we're like, hey, this happened 4 weeks in a row now, we've gotta
Mhm.
somehow reach out to the resident, we'll let the town know whether they want us to send a letter to them or they wanna reach out directly or we work together. But just say, we've been having this issue. If you wanna continue to get your trash recycling picked up, here's what's gonna have to happen.
Yeah, I imagine too, once people get used to seeing it, how things work with the snow, there's gonna be like a sweet spot. Because if that arm can reach 12 feet off, and you're pulling right up to the end of the driveway, even in the wintertime, the throw of the wing of the snow plow, if you set your bin 6-8 feet into your driveway, that arm should still be able to reach it, and it shouldn't be in a spot where you're getting absolutely pummeled with snow.
Right. Yeah, I would just
Unless
say.
Calvin's got an issue with you and he's aiming for it when he goes
I would
by,
say the
but
only thing with that is as the driver's coming down the road, if you can't see the carts,
Mhm,
more than likely he's gonna end up driving by.
mhm.
You should be able to swing back around and get it, but we wanna try to keep them as close to the road as possible, just so they can
Yeah.
see the carts.
And another question about placement. So if someone's, let's say 125 Pinkenbrook Road, we're gonna put them on in our driveways. Right now I put mine across, which I don't love, right? I forget to put it in my driveway. I see the truck go by and I think, oh, I'll just go out and put it on the other side of the road for when it comes back by on the other side. I'm taking it, the driver will drive right by that because it's supposed to be on the driveway side.
Depending on the cart placement instructions, yes. So if it's a back down, that's really the only scenario where they would have to be on one side. So what the driver will do is he'll back all the way down and then work and then drive out. So if he backs down and he misses you and you get it over to the other side by the time he's driving up, you should be able to grab him. As long as they're out and he sees them, there's no reason he should be driving past those.
So we had one resident write a concern, I don't know, their driveway was a big hill and normally they throw their trash in the back of the car and now they have these big bins and I guess people will just need to make it work. I mean, you
Yeah,
have a
so-
cart, it has to be at curbside, you
Yeah.
gotta fill it up and that's
So
just
what
the way it is.
what I had mentioned earlier is folks
Yeah.
can leave their carts at the top of their driveway if they want, if they're concerned about that. Kind of off to the side, or they can build a cart corral where they put their carts in if they want it to look nice. And then all we ask is day of, take it out of the corral or remove it from the side of your driveway and just put it curbside.
Gotcha.
So that we can collect it, but it wouldn't change for them, essentially. Their carts would be at the top of the driveway, they'd bring their bag up in their car, drop it in the cart, and just put it curbside. Some towns allow that, some towns don't, that's why.
Yeah. Alrighty. This has been super informative for me so far. And
Mhm.
all the questions that I've had submitted to me have been addressed either in your presentation or asked in follow-up. Does anyone have any other questions? Am
I do
missing
a
any?
couple that I
Yeah.
got over on some of the stuff, so and some of these I know the answer to, but we're on television, so the people who asked them can hear the answer. One is, how is recycling placed in bins? Do you just throw it? It doesn't have to be in a bag before you put it in the bin. It could just be thrown in loosely into the bin.
Loose.
Okay,
Trash will need to be in bags. Obviously, if there's a pay as you throw for a program, it will have to be, but we don't, we try to stay away from the loose trash. Outside of pay as you throw programs, and then no plastic bags in recycling. Those bags get tangled in our equipment at the sorting facility.
so you just
and
soon
toss
have
them.
loose cans,
Loose,
bottles.
yep.
Okay, that was one. A lot of concern about what happens, and I think it mostly involved in who's gonna pay for it, but the 64 gallons are fairly heavy. Do they blow around? Do they get thrown out in the middle of the road
We do have challenges on windy days.
like yesterday?
Like yesterday. Those kind of days are a little rough as far as the carts go. If we do pull up to a cart and it is in October because of the wind, the expectation is the driver gets out, puts it right side up, collects it, and then puts it back where it was.
I think the greater issue is when it's heavy. Oh, excuse me, when it's empty.
When it's
Does it
empty.
blow around? I mean, that would be
Again,
the concern, is
on
even if you
wind
said it
days.
nicely, yesterday it was gonna blow over. But the answer is, if it does and it gets whacked by a semi, you
Call
call
it in.
Casella and it gets
Call it
replaced.
in and we'll replace it.
Okay,
Whereas the difference now is we have that same problem anyways. Most people put out their bins, but if it gets whacked and broken, I have to buy myself a new
Right.
bin. Whereas this would be on your
You just
all
call
done.
us and we'll replace
And my
it.
bin, these are 28 pounds. You were saying
Yeah,
empty?
they're about 20 pounds.
Yeah, which I think mine empty is like 7 pounds. So
Yeah, it's
much more of a wind.
steadier.
Yeah.
and this is another one I know the answer to, but you cannot use existing bins. So if somebody has a
No.
64 gallon
Correct.
Tuffy, they cannot use
Yeah,
that.
it has to be the Casella cart.
Okay,
And that's because of the arm that's used to pick it up.
that was it.
Yeah. That's it. Any other questions? Did you have anything else that?
I was just gonna walk through the mailer and the brochure.
Yeah.
But essentially, the high level, easy version is the mailers are gonna go out ahead of time. And then the brochure is gonna be attached to the carts upon delivery. So those aren't being mailed out. We tie them in newspaper bags at the handle of the cart. So just have residents keep an eye out for those, because a lot of people don't notice they're there. But the alternative option is tucking them under the lid, and people definitely don't see those, so. But that will have obviously the FAQs in it, that'll have what's recyclable, what's not, a copy of the calendar. More info about the app and dates and things like that, so.
Perfect.
Useful information. We'll update these FAQs as things
Mhm.
evolve with the pay as you throw program as well,
Mhm.
just so residents are informed about what's going on with that.
Perfect. Yeah, we're still figuring out details around pay as you throw. But John, one thing that you asked I think is important that I heard was even if the town were to get rid of pay as you throw, you still need to bag trash before it goes in there. It's
Correct.
not just a free for all. So cool. Well, thank you so much for coming in.
So do we need to make a decision on start date while she's here, or do we,
It's already.
I think they've decided.
Yeah, I think this is
Okay.
a
April 6th is the start date?
well,
So
April
that's-
15th is the first day that you'll have automated pickup, whereas we'll get our bins starting April 6th.
April
Okay.
6th.
So the fire is very clear that residents who have issues or concerns are to contact Casella and not the town. You won't say not the town office, but contact Casella if you have any issues or concerns.
Yeah, so if you have any issues with your cart, if it doesn't get delivered, got, your tractor recycle, it wasn't picked up, call us.
So generally, public comments limited to just the beginning of the meeting. But with this being an important topic, if the board's all right with taking a little bit of public comment now, yeah.
The question I know, I wouldn't have known.
No, that's why, yeah, I'm just clarifying for folks who are watching, but we just need you to identify your name and the street you live on. Yep.
The trash is picked up on my side, the even side. I got a good size wide driveway. What happens if I didn't have the wide side driveway? You got the two big bends, and you got another two bends, and you got a foot between each one.
So-
The person access even getting out of his driveway.
It won't be in your driveway, so there's gotta be some space between your house and the next house and the next house. So we try to tell residents who are bringing it over not to put it in your neighbor's driveway unless you have permission. But the open space between driveways is where we typically have residents drive them over.
Thank you so much for coming in. We'll email you if we have any other questions, and we appreciate all this information.
Absolutely. So let me know if anything else comes up.
Absolutely, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alrighty, well that, I took a lot of notes, that I'm gonna pull together, and so I think I mentioned it to the board. After getting all this information, plan to develop a, informational video just of myself kind of highlighting some of what was talked about here, and then the page you go so we can share it onto our town's website and Facebook page to kind of be a frequently asked questions. So we'll have it written, but also if I speak it, for those who don't mind listening to me, they can watch the video and see that too, to make sure it's accessible for everybody. And if you're getting questions from constituents about this and you don't feel like you have all the answers, that's okay. Feel free to funnel them to us as a board, and we can make sure people get the right answers. So that was very informative. That was, now we can move to our department head reports, and then we need both department head here anyway for item C and D on this new business. So we'll start with the department head report and questions. So that was something kind of new that we added, to have the department heads come in the last meeting of the month. They submitted their report online in advance for us to review, and if folks have questions about the reports, this is a good time to ask them. I just want to start off by saying, Calvin, it's been a crazy winter, and it is not lost on us how hard staff have worked, especially when you all were down, to keep the roads plowed, and it's a colossal task. And I can just say, I appreciate it. And with a newborn, I'm up every couple hours anyways, and it seems like every time I'm up, there's a plow driving by, and I'm like, they gotta feel terrible, because I feel terrible right now being awake. So I really appreciate, and I think I can speak for the board in the town when we say we really appreciate all the hard work that has gone into this winter, keeping the roads plowed through all the challenges. So
And being done by a couple of people too.
I just wanna say that we've got a bunch of dedicated employees.
yeah,
We're very lucky.
yeah, we're very lucky.
So, not everybody can do it. so
No,
we're
I've
very
actually-
lucky.
I've had compliments on the roads from people in neighboring towns,
hmm
so it's noticed.
yeah.
We got a great crew, that's for sure.
We know a lot of people were burning both ends of the candle to make it work too, and we appreciate that every year. Some years it just seems crazier than others. Outside of the questions about the front end loader or questions about ambulance revenues, does anyone have questions for Chief? Or Chief, you guys are doing a great job too. Don't worry. If anyone has any questions for either one of them about their department head reports, now's a good time to ask. All right, so we'll just move right into item C, authorization to purchase a front end loader from Public Works Department. So Calvin, if you want to come on up here, and we got your bids in advance here. And I do note, so the Public Works capital improvement plan that we have on our desk right now shows everything 2027 to 2041. But the front end loader was scheduled for 2026 purchase. So that was the year that was being planned on. So I'll give it to you from here though, Calvin.
All right, so we have, I've given you a spreadsheet with the yellow highlighted preferred unit. I brought Ron, in case you had any questions. I can operate him, he knows what's under the hood better than I do. He speaks loader better than me, so if you had any particular questions as to why we chose that unit.
That's a good place to start.
Yeah, so I'll just say right off the back of my mind, not that I'm saying we got to go with the lowest number, but the preferred one isn't the lowest number. So if you could just let us know why, and give us your best professional judgment on that sort of stuff.
Okay, well, I'm Ron, the highway foreman for Public Works. We've tried out five of them, yeah, all of them loaders. They all have their little tweaks, goods and bads. What stands out the most about the one we picked is, it's got a lot more safety features on it. It has what they call a backup detection radar. So if somebody back comes behind you, it'll beep, let you know. It has a rear view camera. Has significant torque over the rest of them, which allows you to, believe it or not, they've managed to put horsepower and torque together and have a 20% less fuel usage. So visibility wise, it's a lot safer. There's a lot of things you can adjust on it that'll make it a little user friendly for the operator. Not everybody operates the same. It's got a lot of safety features, like I said. It's made different. This one's made a lot different for as far as washout. You wash the loader itself. It's got places that the water will run out, flush everything out of it. They've really thought of a lot of things on it. Some of the other ones have some things that are good. Some of them not good. One's has a hydrostatic transmission, which is something you want to stay away from.
Is
My
that
past-
the
my
Devilon?
past-
No, that's
No.
the
It's a Caterpillar, actually. I don't know why they went to it, but my past experience where I came from, we had one and we had no problems.
Mhm.
They get air in them and they won't turn right. They won't get any power out of them. There's a lot of issues with them, so that's something you want to stay.
I have a question. So maintenance, I know heavy equipment, there's some right to repair
Mhm.
issues with certain manufacturers the options you have here, does that take into consideration what you all can work on better? What
Everything on
has
this
any
machine
issues?
is ground level.
Yeah.
So there's no really crawling under it at all. Everything's ground level. You put the hood up and all your filters are there, your oil filters, your air filters, your fuel filters, hydraulic filters, everything's right. Easy for the mechanic to access.
Mhm. And you don't have to call Volvo and ask for permission to fix your own equipment with
No.
this one?
Nope.
Does anyone else have any questions
Is there a
for?
Volvo dealer close by?
Yeah, Westbrook.
It works.
Warren Avenue, Westbrook, yeah.
Yeah, Chadwick and Bay Ross.
And why do we need a new?
So the current one, the cab is rotted right off the machine, and that's what he was
Wow.
saying is the new ones, when you wash them, that flushes the cab out. The one we got now, it just washes everything up under the floor mat and down in the pedals, and you can't get it out. So without pulling the mats out and removing the floor every time, so. I have a pedal I meant to bring with me, the throttle pedal that if you could see it, the whole thing is gone underneath and we replaced it once already and now the floor that it actually attaches to is gone. It's starting to fall apart. So I have a quote here to fix that for $60,000 for cab and the other repairs that it needs. There's 60 grand from John Deere to 10,000 to fix the auxiliary engine parts, valve covers, replace radiator with new hardware, valve cover gaskets. That's 10 grand, and then the cab itself is 48 grand. Of course, that's
What year is the current one that we have?
So 2012. It's a gently used machine. Bought it when we started the department.
Mhm.
Bought it used. So
was gently.
And even in
Yeah.
that state, it's 45,000 trade-in value.
Okay, and then, do you know how many hours are on that one that we currently have?
44, 45, I believe right now.
It's about 45,000.
4,500 or
4,500.
4,500?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
How many
And,
different people
we have-
operate?
No, not, yeah, 4,500.
We averaged 2,000 in 10 years, I think. That's what-
Okay, because I was gonna ask that, because when I look at this warranty, 5-year, 2,000 hours, we would get the full 5 years most likely based off the
Mhm.
current usage.
And that's why he set that, we looked at how many hours we put on a year, and that's why he adjusted the
I buy a warranty.
warranty for what we're actually using.
Mm.
Deb, you had some other questions? Sorry.
How many different operators operate? Just two?
But,
two?
we
Yeah.
try to train everybody on it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Usually two of us most of the time.
So this Volvo is 20% less fuel usage than the Caterpillar, the John Deere, and is it Devilon? Is that how you say it?
Yeah, it used to be Doosan.
Okay, so decreased operating costs there. The safety features you mentioned, are they only on the Volvo compared to the other ones?
The other ones are options, yeah.
Okay, but
But two of the other ones are
You know,
options.
There-
the visibility, we found the It wasn't there in the other machines as far as being the peripheral vision and your rear vision.
And
This lower glass. You know,
Yeah.
you can see.
because for me, that's an important thing, especially I know we have a small department. In a perfect world, you have a spotter when you're running equipment,
Oh, yeah.
but
Right.
more visible, safety. That's,
Yep.
I mean, safety is a very big concern.
Numerous times I've had residents come down into the salt yard, backing out
Mhm.
the salt shed, and luckily we're, you know, we look good, you know.
Yeah.
We're looking a lot, but if somebody goes behind the machine, it's nice to have something to warn you, so something there, you know. That's an option, that's.
And so these are the safety features like the rear camera, the detect and stuff like that. That's built into the quote that you have here. Okay.
And the rear radar on that is built into that price.
Mhm.
And everything's adjustable. I mean, some of the other machines have that too, but like,
Mhm.
I don't know if you're familiar with machines, but they call it a rim pull to break out force. So
Mhm.
if you're going into rock, obviously your machine's gonna use more power going into rock, but you don't want the wheels to spin. So just a flick of a button, you can make that machine do that without
Mhm.
spinning the wheels.
Okay.
Sand is different, salt's different, obviously, the necessary evil.
Mhm.
And what's the balance of the capital fund that you have right now?
I didn't have that. Is that the-
You got like 590,000.
In, just for Calvin's?
Yeah. Yeah, luckily, I mean, just to
Yeah.
plug the capital planning,
Yes,
it's really
capital
nice that
planning.
when you're coming to make a request, it's to expend from capital, not to bond,
Right.
which is huge.
I mean, I had I think 264,000 budgeted for that, but this year I went with the Sourcewell. I had them all Sourcewell quotes, so we got a fantastic government discount, which brought that down dramatically. So that's how these prices came in so much lower than what the bids I was
Yeah.
getting.
Because of why, a government discount?
Yeah, Sourcewell is a government,
Oh.
it's the lowest possible price you can get. The dealers couldn't even, they said they actually have to get reimbursed from the government to sell them to us for what they sell them for.
Wow,
Um,
The Swedish.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's really good.
what,
And you recognize that, like the,
Yeah, I talked to
Yeah.
Auburn. Auburn uses it.
Yeah.
Lewiston uses it. So I called Auburn and got the number to this guy, and he showed me the program. And so you just have to tell them you want the Sourcewell price, and
wow,
they won't give it to you if you don't ask them for it.
that's great,
of course, they're not going to get to you unless you ask for it.
right?
Volvo's a good piece of equipment. I mean,
Yeah,
the companies
yeah.
I used to work with, they do. I mean, they're.
It's got excellent resale value. And
I mean, when I look at these quotes, I'm sure someone will say this is a crazy statement, but you know, realistically, for a piece of equipment, new, the price range being 178 to 190 is not a huge difference. The only one that stands out as a big difference is the used 2022 John Deere, which gives you a whopping 30-day warranty. I would be remiss if I didn't ask, why aren't we looking at that as the option?
even the salesman said you might as well just keep what you got.
Oh,
He said you're buying somebody else's problems. And
Mhm.
it's the same design. You're gonna have the same problem with the salt being stuck in the pedals and down on the floor.
So do you think with this Volvo, not only does it sound like it's safer, but it sounds from a maintenance perspective, it sounds like, I mean, that's something that you fully anticipate getting to 2041
Yeah.
with. Okay.
The pedals are designed on the floor so you can easily clean them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I said, the way they design it on the floor itself, there's areas that you can actually flush out.
Mm-hmm.
If there's holes there, you could pull the plugs out.
Okay.
Little things like that make
The
it-
little things add up to,
yeah, they do.
let's say, extending equipment life for sure.
They do, yeah.
Caterpillar said they'll give you 47,500 for our trade-in. Volvo won't match that for us.
This was their best deal.
Okay.
I drove a hard bargain, and they all knew they had 4 other bidders, so they knew this was it. So
Yeah. Any other questions for either one of these folks?
I really appreciate you coming in with all this information. I like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, it's, cause I think John's statement at the beginning is why, like, why aren't you choosing
Yeah.
the cheap, and it makes sense. The safety, the fuel, I mean, I don't think it's gonna.
The maintenance.
Send fuel, that's a big deal. That's-
yeah.
Yeah.
And like I
'Cause,
said, they've taken Lobo's taking the torque and the power and put them together, so without good torque, power is no good, so.
Yeah, because I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm guessing fuel prices will increase over the next 15 years. So
We use a bunch of it.
yeah, and then the safety really. I mean, I'm worried about you all
Yeah.
out there. I work around heavy equipment, and it's life or death at times, and the
Right.
safety is very very important to me. So I know it is to the rest of the folks on the board as well.
That's what sold me on the extra.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. Any other questions, John or Deb?
I'm ready to make, I'll
All
make a
right.
motion.
Anyone have a motion that they would like to make?
I make a motion that we buy the Volvo, loader.
The L70H2 2026 new?
Yep.
All right. John has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Josh. Any additional questions or discussion? My only question, what's the delivery date?
He got here,
May 20, May?
May of 26.
He's giving it a lot quicker,
Perfect.
which is
Awesome.
plus.
Well, seeing no other discussion or questions, all in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none? Perfect. I just
you.
want to
Thank
once
you.
again say, first off, great work on finding a great deal on this. Really appreciate all the homework. We know you all are the subject matter experts on this, but we have a fiscal responsibility to ask these sorts of
Any
questions.
questions, I'm over
So,
there all the time. So
We
I'm-
appreciate it. And I also just want to highlight, like, this is just a great example, once again, of our capital planning working really well. I mean, Calvin, you were able to come in and find a loader under budget from what you had planned for. We're not talking about bonding. We have the flexibility to get this deal when we have the deal as an option. So this is really good work on you, Jerry, on this capital planning, and the department heads on keeping it all together. We really appreciate that. So
Thank you.
Can I just make a comment on that? The CIP plan is good. I noticed there's new stuff on there. Some Bridget, I guess, we don't need to discuss what it is tonight. We'll get that in the budget thing. But I know not long ago, we got a bond or something to replace a culvert. Is that something you're looking at?
We
Big grant.
we didn't get any
Grants.
grants.
There was a grant.
We got
Sorry,
grants,
thank
yeah,
you.
there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did get grants. I'm gonna be pursuing them again this year and hope that I can get one. The last one I applied for, I didn't get.
Well, we can talk about it. We'll talk about it during the budget cycle. So
Yeah.
thank you for doing that.
awesome. Thank you both.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Go get some sleep
Yeah.
before it snows again.
For the next, no.
Yeah,
Won't be long.
tomorrow.
Alrighty, sticking with our department head theme.
Wait, are we going to tell
Yes.
them? We are, right?
Yeah.
Oh, we're all good with you, yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen, ladies.
Thank you. Speaking of the department head theme, we'll bring chief up here to discuss involving ambulance revenues. Just so, a little bit of background, I'll introduce this. A couple of years ago, chief brought to our attention our rates that we're charging for the service that is provided. When people call the ambulance, there's a fee associated with that their insurance pays. I'll let Chief go a little bit into details, but this is one of those things that we should periodically assess to determine if we're charging the appropriate amount. They haven't been changed since 2023. It's now 2026. Just real quick, notes on guidance for how we set fees. Maine Municipal Association has some great guidelines that they recommend people take into consideration when they're setting fees. Not only does it you want to take into consideration the cost to your municipality, but also it is wise to look at surrounding municipalities, just to make sure you're have a good frame of reference. And so Chief's here today because as we're getting into the budget season and we're talking about things that are going to cost us money, we want to evaluate our revenue streams as well. And this is one of them. So we asked Jerry to put it on the meeting, and then Chief has prepared for us kind of a comparison to local communities for a slew of services that the rescue offers. And we brought him in here so he can make a presentation to us and we can ask him questions and make some suggestions. So hope I didn't steal
Thank
too
you.
much of your thunder, Chief.
No.
But
So before you start, Chief, could you tell us, or tell me at least, what a BLS, ALS,
Sure.
Yeah, emergency and not what goes
Exactly
acronym
what you're
stand for.
looking at. So left to right, what he's looking at is, of course, this page. You can see the Durham rates. This is from our Comstar billing. That's a contracted company. They're out of Massachusetts. So you can see $22 mileage. BLS emergency, so that's lights and sirens. BLS, so that would be an EMT basic, some oxygen. If you use an emergency, so that could be what an EMT basic, and of course, there's 3 levels: basic, advanced, paramedic. That could be administering an EpiPen for anaphylactic reaction, just the basics that EMTs can do, aspirin, that type of
And
stuff.
that's part of the
Band-Aids.
charge.
It is part of the charge.
There's a charge category here.
Yeah, and it's a list. It's almost
Mhm.
like an inventory checkbox. The next is non-emergent, so lovingly an Uber to the fires to the hospital. So that could be just a mental health crisis. It could be nondescript pain. There's a lot of reasons why you take an ambulance to the hospital, but non-emergency. So we pick them up, evaluate, just driving to the. And Durham does one of the 5 hospitals. So 2 in Lewiston, the Mid Coast, and 2 in Portland.
EMT basic.
Yes. And the next 2, ALS 1, ALS 2, so that's advanced life support. And really, it just trips what the paramedic does. So is that chest pain EKG? Is it chest pain EKG nitro? Is he hanging a bag, drip? There's more to it. And really, that's just delineated with our billing company and insurance. We, as a department, don't check that. It's literally reviewed, the run sheets reviewed, the procedures that we do is reviewed, everything is billable. And this is common. This isn't just Durham. This is just common across the states and bill.
Okay, thank you.
So you can see what we charge currently. Again, 3 years ago, I highlighted for you the same sheet, what I'd be recommending, except for the mileage. We would keep the mileage the same. The highlight says 21 currently, that's 22 per mile. And that's called in, just to know, we start at 0, we end at the hospital, the mileage is exact. And people will Google that. So it is exact, and we understand people or insurance carriers are paying per mileage, half mileage. The rest is what you see would like to go up to 850, 1025, 1500. So that equates to a 21% increase, 21% increase, 19% increase, 42 for paramedic.
Is the gray what we're charging now?
Yes,
And the
you see,
yellow is what you want to go?
Correct.
to?
With the exception of mileage,
Yeah.
you want to
Yeah,
keep
with-
mileage
okay.
at 22.
Yeah.
So you said 21% increase for BLS emergency, 21% for non-emergency, 19% for ALS emergency,
Yep.
and then ALS 2 emergency is 41.
42.9. Now that being said, I was also that is what you're looking at. You can see Androscoggin County, Cumberland County, that Comstar. Those are Comstar contracts.
Can you
not-
explain what you mean by that?
So Comstar is our billing company that we contract with. So these are clients of Comstar, not others. There is a billing company out of Maine, but these are Comstar. That's how they know. This is sort of proprietary, and it is not made public, right? It's a contract type of thing. So that is 5, including us, average. You can see that around us. Everybody, just the average is well above what we're already charging. You can see that at the bottom where it says average. The average of their clients are well above anything we're close to.
But before we get too much further, because we have some new board members
Sure.
and we have a lot of folks paying attention at home, could you explain how the billing works? Because I know in the past we talked about, a bill is submitted, insurance pays a proportion, and the rest goes to collection. Could you walk through that process so folks know?
Sure. So your second that I just passed out, this one, I just received this today. The one I just passed out. Jerry, I have an extra one if you want to just follow along. So you can see in the year that was finalized, which was July of 24 to June of 25, that's the sheet we're looking at. Those have all been settled. They've either gone to collections, they've been paid, or they've been written off. So that's 199, 200 transports. Now that's all in. That's mutual aid, that's Durham, that's motor vehicle accidents, all of it. Transports to a hospital, not a sign off, not a refusal of transport. These are definite transports to a hospital. And again, all in for the Durham rescue. This has nothing to do if we went mutual aid with Auburn or Lisbon. This is the Durham rescue transport, 200 in that year's time. You can read right across that Blue Cross, the charges, we had 25, transports that had Blue Cross. The total charges that we charge, the available or allowable. So under their contract, they only allow so much, right? So we can't just charge $100 for oxygen. They'll only allow like 70 as an example, right? You can't charge out of the market. Total collected, and so that's a 94% collection rate you can see for the Blue Cross as an example, and that's provided by our billing. You can see the next two, Medicaid, Medicare, and all other insurance, 50%, it's 50 cents on the dollar. You can see what we charge. You can see what Medicaid, Medicare allows, which is almost 50%. You can see what was collected. The reason for that is we're only allowed, when you sign on to Medicare, Medicaid, you're only allowed to charge so much, which is pennies on the dollar, but they do pay that amount. That's why it's 198.
But by upping these rates, we're really only upping the total charges, not the total allowable, right?
Correct, because allowables from them,
Right.
but
So
what we are.
it's really only affecting on this sheet, like the 100% self-pay uninsured.
No, because Blue Cross, you can see the veterans, self-pay, uninsured, motor vehicle, there's main care, there's other avenues of insurance.
So Chief, let me use an example here. So if you have a call and we bill $1,000.
Yes.
The insurance company, depending on the insurance company, each one of those insurance company has a different amount that they're willing to pay for that service.
Yes.
Let's say it's $500. That remaining $500 then falls on the person who received the care to make up the difference.
In most cases.
Yeah, because
Not
like
all.
so that's where the difference between total allowable and total collected. That's where that goes to a collection service.
So not necessary collections, because that is down the line for
Mhm.
us. And we just signed on with a collection service only like 2 years ago. So they'll get billed, just like I think we've all used insurance, right? It's just like going to a doctor's. There's co-pays, there's doctors, there's allowable, what your insurance will pay, and then you're on the hook for others. And then you have to come up with it. If you have Veterans Administration, the VA, they'll pay 100%. Says so right here. They always have. There's an allowable, they pay it 100%. Yes, on certain circumstances, you could be called to make up the difference.
Okay, because like I'm just thinking, I got transported by Turner after a car
Yes,
accident
after a major car wreck,
and
advanced life support.
my insurance company paid, and then Turner sent me a bill for the difference.
Yeah.
And in this case, I sent it to the person who hit
So
me, so
just
that goes to a
know
different person.
That's why we have a billing company
Mhm.
that takes a percent off the top. I don't get involved, the town doesn't get involved at all. There's computers back and forth about write-offs.
Mhm.
I've written off 100% of the criteria. There is no Durham resident that's ever been taken to collections.
Mhm.
Zero. We have a collections party that scares people, that will set up a payment plan. It's not just garnishing your wages or, putting a lien on your house. It's none of that. It's just trying to get paid, services provided. This is not out of the realm. Durham is just supplementing the ambulance that we have out of the fire department, supplemented. I believe we brought in, you can see out of that 127,000. And again, that goes back to undesignated funds to the town. The fire department doesn't see it, it goes right into undesignated, and I have to fight to use it again, or you all, or the voters can choose how they spend that money. It is not an enterprise account, it does not go back to the ambulance or the fire department. So it only supplements the ambulance that the town provides. Just know, I researched this, right before they bought the 2019 ambulance, they asked United Ambulance what it would cost, private entity out of Lewiston, how much to service Durham. At that time, which was 8 years ago, it was $500,000, and they would collect all revenues. So the fire department budget all in with a volunteer fire department and running the ambulance is roughly $650 a year. I mean, it's going up year over year, but roughly an ambulance company would wipe out all that, and you'd still have to pay for a fire department and whatever. And there's no guarantee you'd have an ambulance in town, a paramedic in town, and anything.
I would imagine that total allowable, that should increase annually too, right? Like I imagine insurance companies must acknowledge the cost of
Yes.
business increases.
So year after year, and again, we are 3 years out of any increase. According to the billing, this year alone, Maine went up 2.5% allowable. So if you go back, that could be up to 7.5% that we're not garnering, that's allowable.
That, and when you say Maine, is that the Maine
State,
state of Maine?
and they break that up with the southern Maine, and then north of Portland.
Okay. Yeah, because I know that when you first came to us a couple of years ago, there were some examples of like we weren't even charging the allowable amount for certain acts, for
Correct.
certain care.
Not even obtaining what the allowables were.
Right.
And that's not about the 127,000 off the back of the per diems really. And then again, to undesignated, that's all in. So that's ambulance maintenance, that's fuel, that's pay for those people. That's durable goods that year after year have gone up. The durable goods are just skyrocketing from medical grade equipment. Before this, we didn't have to have an unfunded liability of having a medical director contract. Currently, that's $1,000 a year that was added, that was never garnished. And I just got a bill from the DEA. Every department federally in Maine is trying to work out an $888 bill for narcotic storage and licensing. So my point is, year after year, your Durham cost is going up. And we haven't raised our rates at all. And then just know that Comstar gave me the 50 highest clients that they have, not just in Maine, but overall, we are 50% of what others are getting. So we're at 970 for the highest rate currently. These guys are at 4,200.
Wow.
So just know that we're trying to stay average. It's not gouging, it's not trying to pay extra. Again, the town recoups the funding when they can. But these are like the highest mileage is $43 a mile. We're at 22. So they're at double. Almost all these are more than double what we're charging.
So
I know it's a lot of information.
Yeah.
then this added revenue, if we approve these
Sure.
changes, that'll go right into your operating budget?
No,
No,
No.
all revenue is all treated as revenue. It just goes
To
into
the.
Yep.
revenue. So it
Okay.
doesn't get
Gotcha.
earmarked to say this goes to the fire department.
Okay.
It's just revenue.
so correct.
That's
So
it. Okay.
yes, any
Okay.
added, again, goes back to the undesignated for you to decide or the voters to decide how that funding is used. Also know, tonight may not be the night, but we were approached by town of Pownell of possibly transporting half of Pownell's medicals. So they do 100 medical calls. We would split with North Yarmouth with a delineating line, 50-50, and they would also give us currently 15,000 extra just to sign the contract. Again, preliminary, I can't enter contracts, that's you all, so I would bring the contract from them to you. But having an increased set cost would benefit the town of Durham now if we ever brought in other clients.
Wait, so does North Yarmouth currently service Pownell?
Nope,
Completely?
Freeport does.
Freeport.
And from what I gather, they're in contract negotiations with Pownell that aren't going well. And that's something you all could decide with an education and a package at a different time.
Yeah, I'd like to hear more about that.
Sure.
Interesting opportunity.
So I highlighted for what you all, what I'd like to see again. It's been 3 years, just as you all, I mean, the employee cost of healthcare went up 9%, and that's part of transport and healthcare. That was just this year.
Yeah.
So year after year, this stuff goes up, so it gets compounded. I think I'm just trying to play catch up, and again, doesn't go to the fire department.
So a question that often gets asked is like, what's this going to cost the average taxpayer? And so my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, is when you say something like a 21% increase for BLS emergency,
Sure.
that's not a 21% increase to every taxpayer in town of Durham for those services. That's meaning that whomever is calling to receive those services is now being charged $850 instead of $700. So if you're not calling the ambulance, you're not incurring that expense. If you are
Correct.
calling the ambulance, you're incurring that expense. So we are baseline funding a certain element of fire and rescue
Yep.
through our taxes.
Yes.
And then if you use it, there's this additional charge.
This is literally your pay as you throw.
Exactly. I was
Pay
just
as
about
you-
to say
Pay
that.
as you drive.
Yeah.
We did 200 transports, as I gave you, over that period. That's not all Durhamites.
Mm-hmm.
Mutual aid, at that time, we were running 40 mutual aid, that's been cut in half. Car accidents that happen to be half non-Durhamites. So 4,200 people, we transported 200. I'm willing to bet 50 of those were not from Durham. So 150 people that used a specialized service. Again, the fire department side is free. So we haven't even garnered charging for extrication, which we've done 3 or 4 of those. We also do, there's car accident cleanups, hazardous materials, all that you could be charging for. Haven't even broached the subject.
This isn't also, oh, sorry, Josh, did you have something?
That just surprised me that you don't
Yeah.
charge for that, sorry.
Again, on you all entering the contract, we've talked about it before, previous boards about revenue generating, but currently the fire department does not charge for fire department calls. The motor vehicle accident, you can contract with sort of like its own Comstar company that bills for automobile accidents. You do traffic control, hazardous materials cleanup. We had a tanker rollover from a heating oil recently. That is all part of
Well, sometimes you get
providing a service.
called traffic control for the police that
Yes.
need extra help
We
for
don't
traffic
charge. Yeah.
control. It doesn't get charged, yeah. This also doesn't mean it's a 21% increase for like a lift assist or a cat stuck in a tree or.
Thank you for that. So non-transport, no charge. Lift assist, medical evaluation. Sometimes we do wound care, sometimes we do mental health crisis. That's a no transport. You can sign off, I refuse transport, I refuse treatment. Any of those are still non-chargeable. Just know that there are other departments that touch us that are charging up to $150 a lift assist. So if they go to a nursing home, if you don't have home health care and you're aging in place and you fall a lot, and they have to come and help you and evaluate, they're charging $150 and getting it through insurance. That is not Durham.
And-
We're still Durham friendly, in my opinion. I've been across this country on an ambulance. I mean, it's still about the people of Durham. Durham's tax base provides a basic service here, one ambulance, and we're still one guy, right? I mean, it just happens to be Assistant Chief Dimick on duty tonight as the per diem. That's one guy. You've asked me to run a full-time ambulance with one guy. I have a driver at home, but we'll still wait for them to get here and go on the call.
You set me up on the app. I can't remember what it's called.
I am
I
responding.
am
Yeah,
responding.
like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and it still stretches me out when I wake up in the morning and see how many, and so I think all the compliments that you guys get, well deserved. I'm still, the hazardous waste cleanup one really still strikes me as, boy, that's something that we should address, because it's just, I don't know, but
Dangerous.
I think it's something that we should address, and I think at some point we should ask for a list of things that you're not charging for that we might.
I can bring a package to you.
You know, I like that we're not charging for everything, but at the same time,
That's a big.
there are certain things I think. And so I don't,
But I would say the things that are covered by insurance, like if I understood you said lift assist is covered by insurance? Yeah,
If we were to start charging, some of that is, it's not what I'm suggesting.
okay,
So what we're seeing in front of us here is these are charges that are universally covered by insurance. Like insurance,
They're the basics of.
Yeah,
of
the
transport, mileage, care, that type of thing.
yeah, because when I think of, and this is a discussion for a different day, but like, you know, I don't want people to be laying there on their kitchen floor and they don't want to call the fire department for lift assist because they're worried about the $150 charge. So I like that we have, and like I'm on I Am Responding. There is a lot of I've fallen and I can't get up calls almost weekly. Like there's a lot of that, you know, and knowing that we have a great department that can go help with that is important. Or, you know, something's hurting, I don't know how bad it is, and they go and say, oh, it's a stub toe, or oh no, you got to go to the hospital, right? But when I look at these are legit, like you're getting hooked up to something and you're getting transported and your insurance company is going to incur a cost. I'm fully supportive of making periodic adjustments to these. And with the information we have in front of us right now, I think that this recommendation from our chief looks pretty reasonable on these numbers. And so I don't have any other questions for you, but I'd like to button this up. So if anyone else has questions for
one
chief,
quick
and
one.
then we
If
can
we
move forward.
raise any of these, what is the percentage likelihood we'll actually get reimbursed for that? Cause right now we've got, does an insurance company set a fee to say, you're gonna get transported to, St. Mary's or CMC, it's $500. The fact that we increase our price, is that likely to go up?
Yes,
Okay,
collections will go up,
okay.
yes.
Yeah, and that's where the 2.5 allowable increase each year, we haven't been adjusting to capture that. So my understanding is there's certainly things here that if we go up, the insurance company's share is already going up. So.
Durham is aging in place, I keep saying it, right? Cause there's.
Careful
the
what you're
market.
saying, chief.
I just happen to be looking at you, don't be offended. And I appreciate that, I deal with the seniors a lot, I can assure you, because, you've reached out before. No seniors being billed and they're not going to collections, all right? I will whisper in the ear, some do have hardships. They actually ask, what's this gonna cost me? And I will tell them, it's not your concern. We will collectively as a community take care of it. I don't tell them, you know, don't worry, but nothing goes across my desk that a Durhamite is gone to collections and multiple phone calls ever in my control. I happen to be the only one, because you have to sign on, you have to be vetted for all these companies. That doesn't happen in Durham. I cannot speak of any other agency, any other city or town. But they're not being hounded if they're a Durham resident.
If we, oh, sorry, Josh, you had something else to say?
no, go ahead.
If we were to adopt something like this tonight, would you be able to use these numbers to kind of extrapolate projected revenue for this year, for the 2026 or 2027 budget? Or would that be a little?
Yes, without using Pownell, I can get with our billing company who works for us and see what those percentages towards 200 transport would increase, all in. They could help us and then give it to Jerry.
And
to
also
put in.
take into consideration the fact that we're seeing an annual increase
We
in
are seeing an
transport
annual
for
increase
the
in
last
transport.
4 or 5 years straight.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
I have, before I make a I'd like to make a motion. I have two questions. One is this something we should be reviewing on a yearly basis around this time
Yes.
while you're putting together the budget? And two, is this the right amount of an increase? Should it be more? I guess
So I took liberty and tried to stay, as you can see on the bottom of that graph, roughly average. So if you chose to skip a year, we would be okay. But, you know, the BLS, the two BLSs, we would be above average. The ALS one, we would still be below their average. And ALS two would be right there. So we're just average. This isn't exuberant. This isn't a money grab. This is literally catching up to what insurance does provide in the last 3 years that we haven't gone up. But yes, yearly, we should be reviewing it, and the same as if you all have a flavor for billing of car wrecks and hazardous materials, that type of thing.
Should we be reviewing it sooner than now to help with the budget process?
Now that we're on the fiscal year and not the calendar year, this time it is perfect to help with that. I believe other boards have talked about fees and fee schedules, and when that comes out, usually the beginning of the year, it would help. So it is a good time. It just happens to be our 3-year anniversary. Every January, I get an update from our billing company like, hey, it's time to review, talk to the powers.
so I'd make a motion that we increase the rates for the BLS emergency, non-emergency, raise that to $850. The ALS one to $1,025 and ALS two to $1,500 and leave the mileage at $22.
Josh has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
We have a second from Deb. Any questions or discussion? And so just, Jessica, because you're taking notes, we'll have the record show that it's the highlighted recommendation made by the chief, is what Josh's, motion just made. Yeah,
Except for the mileage.
except for the mileage. Yeah.
Yeah, mileage stays the same.
Yeah. I don't have any other questions or discussion. So Rebecca's making some,
I'm just telling.
no, that's good. All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, that passes unanimously. Thank you for the groundwork on this. Very eager to hear about potential for Pownell. And it's been a couple really busy years in terms of figuring out our budget the last few years and capital and stuff like that. At a later date, I'd like to have you come in and, if the board's good with this, maybe walk us through what Durham doesn't charge for, what we could charge for, what other municipalities charge for. I don't want us to get into pinging residents, but when you've got 9 folks out there helping with a hazardous waste cleanup from a truck that was passing through delivering something, maybe there's a discussion to be had there. As we're starting to think about I think that the spirit of the Durham Fire and Rescue is to provide services for Durham, in the town of Durham, and that there are certainly these extraneous things that are occurring that are pretty big lifts that we could maybe explore. And I'd love your professional opinion on that at a later meeting. So.
And when you do bring the pound thing, I think we've talked about sort of how busy you are. I don't know if short-staffed is the right word, but I just see that app, it really eye-opening to me. 199 was just kind of a number, but then seeing it come across my phone, I was looking this afternoon. I think there was one this afternoon. I was looking at it and realized, oh wait, there wasn't one yesterday. I was kind of shocked. there's a concern for me that, you know, and I don't know, but it seems like you're not getting a lot of new recruits necessarily. And taking on more work for what you have. I'm concerned that you're gonna be overwhelmed. So I would just ask you to keep that in mind and, you know, well-being and mental, physical health for you all is important because, you know, as a community, we need you here. It's important. And you do a lot of work helping the other communities too. I just throw that out there.
Yeah, again, so I can't answer contracts. I'll bring the information and the request to you, answer questions at that time. Currently all preliminary amongst fire chiefs. I think Pownell's talked to his administrator and select board, that type of stuff on next steps. So that could be coming soon.
Thank you, chief.
You're welcome. And no, just for the, I know we're wrapping it up. We did get that sort of National Volunteer Fire Council and State Farm grant, so they are giving us 5 laptops. If you read that, so up to $10,000. Some of them are reconditioned, but you know, we use 3 nonstop, just here laptops, running program software training. I am responding. So to get 5 laptops on a grant is
Good job.
successful, and we
Great.
look forward to it.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Good job.
Some thanks, chief.
Yeah, I'll get out of your way. I'll
No, you're all
go
good.
to my corner.
Alrighty, we need to move into the Board of Assessors to discuss a tax abatement. Do I have a motion to move into the Board of Assessors?
So moved.
Alright, I'm gonna give that one to Josh. Do I have a second?
I'll
Give that-
second.
Oh, Rebecca's still gone. Alright, any questions or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Any opposition? Passes unanimously. We are in the Board of Assessments. Looks like somebody demolished their house and didn't get a permit for it, and so no one knew. So when they received their tax bill, they said that they actually don't have a house anymore. And so they need to be, the property needs to be abated by the amount of $5,463.47. Do we have any questions on the abatement?
I'll make a motion to approve. No questions.
John has made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second from Josh. Any questions on the motion?
This goes into last year's abatement. Does it come out of this year's budget? I got, the same 18 months, so never mind. I just,
It
The
is.
overlays, the abatement.
the over, yeah,
Yeah.
so, okay, 18 months. So.
It does put us in the hole for abatements though.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Putting them, choosing an abatement when you're doing the budget is up. Yeah, we still do it, but it
Yeah.
is.
Well, what do you mean put in the hole?
I
Because at
think
the same time, we pick up a lot of valuation every year too, so we end up.
just when you pick your mill rate, there's an overlay. with it,
Yeah,
And we're kind of going over the overlay
through
Because
abatements.
those overlays take care of the abatements, but
Mhm.
there's been so many, and I mean, this is a pretty good one here.
Yeah, that's what I-
The abatement line is always. got
Yeah,
the
because
overlay.
usually it's a few $100 here and there because it's, you
You
know,
know, coming out of tree growth or something like that.
or
you know,
a half an
that-
acre was miscalculated or
Right,
whatever.
It's never anything like this. This is a substantial.
Yeah, it's a
abatement.
full home.
Had she gotten the permit,
I was just
Then-
asking.
things would have went the way they should have.
Yeah, and so, yeah, because she wouldn't have calculated the taxes like the home was there,
Mhm.
like she would have got the.
If the,
would've
Is
known.
is there a fee for not requiring the permit?
So if they build a new home, they're gonna pay the fee then.
But there's.
well, there is a demolition permit, and so my understanding was that if someone doesn't pay for a permit and then that's found, they have to pay double.
Right,
Right.
but how do you police that? So you send them a double bill, they don't
Yeah.
pay it. But if they wanna build another house on that property to get the permit, they're gonna have to pay that demolition bill, that double or whatever.
And just, I just,
Because
for
right,
point of
because, I mean,
information,
You could give them that, but they could sit on that, I mean.
yeah, and also
because
point,
no police is gonna come up and say, oh, I didn't pay your abatement,
But
I
also,
didn't pay your
real
demolition.
quick, the demolition permit's $50.
Oh,
So it's
okay, that
not,
was
we're
my
talking
question.
about recouping $100.
Okay.
I just wanna
And
make
that'll
that
get-
clear.
And that'll get tacked on to any building permit, so if they don't
Yeah.
pay it, they won't
Okay.
get their building.
But there's not like we can issue a
Right.
fee and get back that money,
Right.
yeah.
Right, I was just gonna ask. how much.
Did you send the $100 bill or no? Does she know that when, if she was to build, she
They've
does
been
know
talked
that? Okay.
They've been talked to
Okay.
about it.
Yeah.
It's just
Okay.
a better way, I mean, even Donna said the best way to handle it is when they want a building permit to rebuild, you just
Mhm.
tack it
Yeah,
on.
but I think you just have to tell them. That's that.
But-
yeah.
And
You can done that.
to your point, John, this is something we should think about when we set our next overlay, as I know we always want to be like razor tight with that mill rate.
Mhm.
But we also don't want to underestimate,
I think this is the first time we've gotten close to the budget number.
yeah,
In my budget experience.
Right. Yeah.
So remember, you're all given 3 different,
mm-hmm.
and so each of those, the overlay is automatically calculated, each one of those mill rates. Right, so.
Oh yeah, no, I understand that.
Right,
I'm saying,
so-
but we are always really trying to keep it as close as possible.
Right.
And this is just something for us to think about when we're setting the next one.
Yeah, alls I'm saying is the overlay amount isn't arbitrarily
Right.
set, it's based on.
Yeah. We have always been picking the middle one or on the low end. And so I'm just saying that this is some information to keep in mind. I mean, like we have here, an abatement of $5,463, I think, is more than the last like 8 I've seen combined. It's just a big one. So, but we do have a motion and a second to accept the property abatement, and we just had a good discussion on it. Seeing no additional discussion or questions, all in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, that passes unanimously. I now entertain a motion to exit the Board of Assessors and go back into the Select Board meeting
So moved.
from John. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Rebecca? Any questions? Comments? All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none? All right, Jerry, town manager report.
I actually have nothing for you this
All
week.
right. Perfect. Board member report. I'm gonna start off a couple things. Thursday is one of the annual GP COG meetings, that I attend. Josh and I get invited to. Josh has a scheduling conflict, so he's not gonna be able to attend. And so I invited Rebecca to attend with me. Deb attended last year. Nothing against you, John. I started with
I'm going
whoever
to
served the
conservation.
longest and came down. But I also know that we have the
Conservation,
open space. And so I'm happy that the two of you are still gonna be able to make it to that. A lot of the topics on the agenda, and I also felt really suited well to you, Rebecca, is it's a lot about communication and particularly about how towns manage their social media and social media's accounts that are about the town. So pretty timely discussion for us. So we're gonna divide and conquer Thursday with some of us being there and some of us being at the open space meeting. The other thing I wanted to say is we received a ton of emails about pay as you throw. Really appreciate community feedback. We have a policy of the chair responding to recognize that everyone's email has been received and considered. I haven't sent those emails out yet because I wanted to get some information tonight from Casella to help inform some of that. I'll be sending those responses out tomorrow and Thursday, just so you all know. Generally, don't get into any back and forth policy discussion, more of a facts and figures type thing, and thanking people for their feedback. Another thing I wanted to say is, so we discussed we've made an adjustment to ambulance and rescue fees tonight. One thing, and Jerry, I wanted to bring this up to you all and put this on a future agenda shortly, is we do have the authority to periodically review all other permits and fees. I think the last time we did that was 2024. And so as we're coming into a budget season, it might be worth us having the code enforcement officer or Jerry pull together the material we need to make sure to see where our building fees and permits and stuff like that are sitting in relation to the surrounding community and the cost of doing business. those fees, some of them are designed to kind of recoup some of the costs of the planner and some of the costs of the code enforcement officer. The cost of planner and code enforcement officer, regardless of salary, has increased just because of the cost of benefits increasing. And I think it'd be worth us having a peek at that. We made the big adjustment 2 years ago, so this now would probably be tweaking minor adjustments, but I think it's timely with the budget. If we're looking at expenses, we should also be looking at revenues.
Well, one thing I think we missed, changes to planning stuff. So if somebody comes in and wants to change their site plan or their, plat or whatever, we don't charge them for that. And sometimes that's as
Significant effort,
significant
yeah.
as the original one. So we may want to add those and
Well, I'm gonna lean on your experience, John, having been on the planning board, when we start having those sorts of discussions to bring some recommendations, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
Because these are fees that are paid by people who are doing something that's above and beyond the normal scope of expenses. And when we look at places where we can generate some revenue, those are good places to look. And generally, we've been below the median expense for the surrounding communities for things like developments and things of that nature. The other thing is I want to put on discussion for next meeting. We received, someone reached out and inquired about, joining the budget committee when there's a vacancy, and reached out to town legal counsel because there's a little bit of misunderstanding as to whether we as the select board can appoint someone to a elected board or not. I know past select boards have appointed people, but I don't believe that they consulted with legal counsel at that point. With our budget committee not having any local ordinance and our local ordinance not explicitly giving us authority to appoint vacancies to elected roles like the budget committee, the lawyer looked at 30A. 30A does give, and the state level says that outside of vacancies to select board and school board, which the select board is required to take action on, other boards and committees, the select board may take action on. And so, not for discussion tonight, but I just want to place in everyone's head for us to discuss next meeting. We need to decide how we want to address vacancies right now on the budget committee. With that being an option, is we could either let it lie or solicit people to join that committee. There's just some optics to be thought about and discussed, because if that committee is kind of trying to serve as a check and balance to us, there's some optics around us appointing and things like that. But just something that we should talk about next meeting. So that's going to be something I just want to have on folks' minds and let you all know that we can choose to fill it or not according to what our lawyer has responded to. So kind of a wordy board member report for me, but I just wanted to cover those things. But yeah, Josh, you have anything?
Yeah, sorry, that's an interesting question. I was.
I saw the wheel spinning at that point, oh, that's a good.
Yeah, that's the pay as you throw. I wanted to raise, there's been a lot of questions and I've had a lot of discussions with people. And is that something, and this is, I'll phrase it as a question that can be thought about, and is that something that we should do a workshop on or a public meeting on, so we can get input and just, if people show up in the droves that they've been emailing and to us about, it could be it's a conversation, but I don't think it's a simple conversation, because I think there's a pro and con to everything for the town, the tax burden and all that. So I wanted to throw that out there, how to address that. I think that's something that may be more appropriate, but
something we need to get to pretty quickly.
right.
Yeah, because at this point we voted for pay as you throw and we've set the fee. But questions I'm seeing are like, do I get any bags
Right.
up front and those sorts of things? I've crunched a bunch of numbers on that. Any bag up front is lost revenue on the back end, which needs to be made up by raising, appropriating more. So any bag you get up front, it's just a bag that you're charged through for your taxes. And so there's some discussions to be had there Obviously not on the fly right now, but I think we should
Right.
probably do that
That's-
very, very soon.
Yeah, and I just thought that that could be a lengthy conversation, and I don't, it's like the town meeting, we don't get a large turnout, and so will we get a large turnout for that? But to do it at a meeting, I feel like the next meetings are all gonna be pretty full. So I
Sorry,
just want,
real quick, are you saying maybe have that as like when we've in the past done like an informational workshop at like the Eureka Center where it's just talking about this and people can come
Yeah.
in? Okay.
so
cool.
I don't know, but I think having it as a public, people, I was expecting people to come in for public comment tonight. I was a little surprised.
Me
But
too.
also a little happy because, I think it's hard to listen and not sort of ask questions and sort
After
of
the
talk
fact,
about,
yeah.
and that's been, I was my daughter had a basketball scrimmage tonight and it was a topic that someone brought up. So we had a 15-minute conversation about the pros and cons and
Mhm.
this and that. And it kind of said, what do you do? I don't know. That's why you're on the select board. I'm not.
Yeah.
It's sort of how it kind of, it went. And so I don't know, how to have that conversation with some back and forth, I think is necessary in that
Mhm.
conversation. So does that mean
Yeah.
changing the rules to a meeting for a little bit to have that back and forth? What? But anyway,
Can I talk to that? Is that
Mhm,
okay?
yeah.
So, do you mind? So could we set, I mean, next meeting, we do have the superintendent coming.
Mhm.
But would it be possible to, in our setting, have that Q&A rather than set aside a different time?
So
Could
yeah, so
we-
the short answer is yes. So right now we have public comment at the beginning.
Right.
We can at any point in time, and we talked about this when we just kind of had discussions a couple of years ago about guiding principles for meeting. We can at any point in time say this is a section of the meeting we would like to open up to hear more from the public. We could vote on that, and so it could be more of a discussion at that point or something facilitated. We could do that at a meeting, yes.
Right.
I just think if it's something we're going to do at a meeting, we should give some notice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's why I thought having some, and I don't like the idea of doing it. The earliest that we do it that way would be like March 20th, which is kind of pushing it.
24.
But
To Rebecca's point, if we're gonna have if the superintendent's asked to come in as well, if we're gonna have someone there, and I have to confirm that with him that we're yes, but if we're gonna have them come in to be made available to answer questions from us or from the public, that's killing two birds with one stone. If people are, if you want to get people to show up to town and talk about trash and the school, right, at the same time.
I mean, he does in his email, he did recognize that.
Yeah.
So,
I just wanted to throw that out there.
I think it's a good idea.
I think it's a discussion because I go 15 different
It's
ways and then I
everywhere.
have a discussion and it's like,
Well, and to your point, like someone asked me, is there ever opportunity for us to comment on these things? And I said, yeah, there's opportunity every single meeting, and and the agendas are always available. But if I understand that people are busy too, so I said, we can announce on social media or whatever ahead of the meeting that we talk as pay as you go to encourage people like we encourage people tonight. So it's not like oh, I checked the agenda Tuesday afternoon and saw that that's when they're talking about pay as you go.
Yeah.
Because I want people to know we truly need feedback, and we can answer questions, and there's information that people probably haven't maybe pieced together about the revenue side of things and those sorts of things that we can at least present and say, here are the facts and figures
mhm.
up to your questions. There isn't any smoke and mirrors or, hidden discussions going on around this. So I think that's a really good
yeah, I
point.
think because, I talked to Jerry today about my concerns and my sort of thoughts and he said that, he had been discussing other things that I hadn't thought of. That kind of jumped out to me as holy cow, well, how did you not even think of that? But it was, I think of back and forth, which is unlike what we typically do, but I think that's important on that subject, I think, because, but anyway,
What-
No, it's a big topic.
What else do we have scheduled for next meeting for the 10th?
So first read of the budget.
Mm-hmm.
So if you invite the superintendent, you'll have that, and then you'll have the pay as you throw. discussion.
But the thing about the first read of the budget is what I would encourage is I don't want us to dive into the budget. It is really, here's the budget, here's the numbers. Go home and think about this.
Yep.
We need time to digest. So I see that this is that as the last meeting we have before we're really cranking back and forth on budget stuff. And so that's really the only opportunity I see to have these two things, even if it means we plan for a little bit longer on that day, because this is a really important topic. I mean,
And I'm going way up the reservation, but when I think of the first read of the budget, that's Jerry saying, here are the bottom line numbers and, here are things that might stand out, but not really questions from us but giving it to us so we can understand how he's put it together and presented to Mike.
yeah,
Okay.
that's how I feel about the first read.
That makes a
As
lot of
well.
sense to me.
Yeah, because the following two meetings are diving in on the details, and I think that sometimes if we try to dive in, and I'm very guilty of trying to dive in on something the second it's handed to me, and 99% of the time I think to myself, man, I probably could have shushed up and thought about that a little bit more. And so I'd really like that first read to just be here's the facts and figures to provide what you needed last year, this year, here's what it costs. Go home and think about it, then come back to us. So
Should we set a date that we want to make a decision on pay as you throw, or, I mean, when I said, I know we've decided to do it.
yeah.
Are we gonna give a month's worth? No freebies? I mean, do we,
I think we need to do that soon because there is a fiscal impact. So like real quick, just off the top, if we were to give out 26 bags per household, around 1,600 households at at $1.80 a bag, that's about $75,000 worth of revenue. And so if we give that out and we were projecting about $125,000 worth of revenue from bag sales, if we're giving away $75,000 worth of revenue, that just gets made up in the budget. And that could be the answer we want to do. We'd say, well, just have to raise and appropriate more. Because right now, I think folks think of tags that they're getting as free. And they're not free. They're just paid for in your taxes. And so but I think that has a fiscal impact on the budget, to your point, because if we say, yeah, sure, give away free bags, we need to tell Jerry what to set that revenue line at, and then figure out where we want to make up the difference, and so that needs to happen earlier in the process than sooner. So I think that if we were to have that discussion next meeting, get the information, and then turn around the very next select board meeting, and that's when we're going to be getting into the facts and figures and kind of making some policy adjustments to the budget, that's where we could set that line. So does that work for folks?
Yeah, I mean, my thought would be that, it's on the agenda for the next meeting, so we can either make a decision at the next meeting, or we can say, let's do it.
If people are willing to come prepared, hear that feedback, and make the decision.
I think we should
Right
aim
away.
to make a decision on March 10th.
I think
If-
we're,
Yeah,
No,
10,
10.
10,
I think we're running out of time.
exactly.
I mean, if we're, but one time we talked about the bin lifting coinciding with the new bags. We may not be able to do that now, but
No,
we're gonna have to come up with a temporary solution out of the bins and all that other stuff. So I'm kind of ready.
I mean, I will be ready March 10th to make that decision, but I want to make sure other people feel
I
comfortable with
think
that.
we just have to.
And I think that that's a good thing too, to say that like March 10th is speak now, forever hold your peace on feedback, because we're going to hear your feedback and we're going to make a decision that night. And it is what it is. Like it's a tough job we have to make these decisions when there's a fiscal note involved, but we got to kicking the can down the road doesn't make it any easier. So
I would just say, I know you posted about tonight's meeting. So I'm trying to figure out, I don't want to tell you.
no, I'm going to follow up. I'm going to post about
Okay.
yeah.
No.
No.
Trying to figure out how to word that
Get on
without.
Facebook and do it.
Well, I've recognized, and Deb did a really great job of encouraging me here too about the importance for really super transparent and frequent communication around this. And if we don't talk about it as a select board, other people will talk about it, and it's important that we're getting the accurate information out. And what kind of caused me to want to reach out and post into local forums this week was because there was a lot of discussion that was happening that there was some gaps in information and some assumptions that were being made incorrectly that we wanted to make sure the right information is getting out. You can disagree with the direction, you can not like it, but we want to make sure that the facts and the figures are out there. And so I'll be I'll be doing a follow-up this week on everything we talked about tonight and alerting people of the March 10th pay as you throw as well. So that's part of the reason why I held off on those emails that that we've received over the last few days. So I'm begrudgingly using social media.
So. Someone or not.
Oh, Rebecca didn't even realize it was me.
No, I didn't even look at it.
No,
I,
you might should start, I am the select board.
Yeah,
chair.
yeah, yeah.
it's funny because I don't usually get on and I just happened to get on and I saw that today.
Famous Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Yes. So
It must be I'm wearing camouflage in the photo, so you probably can't see it.
That's what it is. Okay.
Well, that was a good report, Josh.
you made me think of another thing and I just forgot. Well, anyway, I also wanted to apologize for my behavior at the last meeting. It wasn't appropriate. I think it brought up some good discussion in the background,
Yeah.
but it was appropriate, so I did want to apologize. I should have led with that, but there's other stuff. Sort of.
Really appreciate that, and Josh and I had a great talk last week too. So, and I apologize for cutting you off in that moment. So, cool. All righty, Deb, do you have anything to add?
Back on the page you throw, I think we need to see math on paper when we have the next discussion, like if everyone gets 3 bags, it's gonna cost
can
the
prepare
town 28 cents per bag, but this much in revenue. We really need to see the math and get that in front of people in the agenda package. And I would have liked, had we planned it a little bit better, just like we got together on the police coverage and we had that big meeting in the cafeteria, we had a paper that said, here's the current state, here's what we're talking about. People got up to a microphone and spoke. I mean, people are very passionate about this topic on the trash business. And I hope just having the next meeting, a dedicated period in the next meeting does it. It probably would have been better if we would have had a specific meeting like we did on the police coverage business. I know it's not as critical, but you know what I'm saying.
To me, it's like
It's
just-
everywhere.
and it's so complicated. I thought it
Yes.
was. I thought after like the last meeting, I thought it was such a
Nothing's
simple.
easy.
It's like it's
So-
sorry. It's,
To
I've
your-
even in my mind gone back to, because I've talked to somebody who lived in Saco, they don't have bags. So that tells me they just spread everything evenly. I got some feedback, of residents in my community, in my neighborhood that thought, I look at trash pickup like we look at road maintenance and everything. It should just be part of the overall, strategy, meaning don't burden us with bags, basically. But anyway, so I'm looking forward to the discussion and
So-
hopefully residents will.
To your point there, just so I understand, because Jerry and I will frame this up in the agenda. What it sounds like to me is we want to give folks an opportunity to give public feedback, listen to our discussion, and then give public feedback on what they've heard. Much like we gave a little bit of space for the gentleman tonight who gave a little bit of public feedback, because like he said, it's like, I don't know what I want to comment till after I hear. So
Right.
if we could have it built into the agenda, public feedback. I kind of think, John, when you had
Yeah.
planning board meetings where it's like, all right, you have feedback at the beginning of the meeting, and then you have feedback on this
If
topic.
you had a public hearing. I
Yeah.
mean, it's sort of like a public information meeting.
Yeah, and so I
But
won't.
It's not true public hearing, but.
Right, so I want to
Yeah.
give availability at the beginning so people can give us feedback if they want to speak before, but also let folks know we're going to have a discussion about bags. And then we want to give the opportunity to the community to come up and we can, same thing, you have 3 minutes to speak and make your point, and there can be some back and forth should the board choose to, and we can use that sparingly. Then we will make a decision, but I'll frame it out in the draft on Thursday next, or the Thursday before the meeting with Jerry. So, but for purposes of letting people know, there will be an opportunity to come give feedback after you've heard the facts and figures, because just like what you were saying right there,
Right.
that is an option, not pay as you throw. But then there's also the component that we've talked about. Pay as you throw generally leads to a 30% decrease in tonnage. and we
Right,
can look at the
and-
tonnage numbers, and then some people might say, oh,
Right, it's really laying
And
out
so,
the whole situation.
I will go, I have thought about this ad nauseum for 2 weeks while feeding a child at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, I have a lot of thoughts and I can put those numbers on paper.
We can also, just be so open as to say we're gonna reverse course and not do the pay as you throw,
We could,
right? I mean, I'm not advocating for that, but I don't want people to just say, give
Yeah,
us the free bags, but, you know, I want,
I think,
Be-
where are we at with the
Wait, wait.
company?
with
Sorry.
ordering bags, yeah, I guess that's.
So the attorney's looking at the contract right now,
Okay,
so.
So we
until-
could terminate it altogether.
Yeah.
we haven't signed it yet.
So, and we
But we-
wouldn't sign it before the next meeting anyway, right? So, I mean, I just. I feel like my head keeps
Yes.
spinning and,
do.
so I just, don't tell me why, just do this. I wanna know.
Joe, when you do the
Sorry.
numbers,
No,
can-
you're good.
sorry, when you do the numbers, can you also add in about us paying with tonnage and how that overall affects the tax burden?
Yeah,
I know.
It's
you're-
so-
I know,
so
I know. This is
tonnage
like
is
belaboring
true.
the-
Yeah.
We
We
don't
don't
have
have to talk about it now.
Yeah, yeah,
but what I
Let's
would
not.
say-
Because it's
Next.
not on the agenda.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
So-
I can prepare some information for ahead of the next meeting that includes those sorts
Just
of
when you're,
things.
yeah, like to
Yeah.
Deb's point, to put the numbers in there.
And-
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I just got to, the numbers that are gonna be provided are gonna be all based on assumptions,
Yeah.
because you don't know what. the-
I know, but
Right,
you
I'm
know
just
what,
saying,
it's,
though.
and I think that
Mhm.
we can preface that, but like to Deb's point,
A
numbers.
ballpark.
Yeah, numbers help put things into
Oh,
perspective
I get
completely,
it.
so
I'm
I think
looking
it's
at
very necessary to have.
months.
Oh,
We've all been.
I know, I know.
Oh, I
the
don't mind.
impact
I
is.
think Rebecca's good too.
I'm done with
No,
my,
it's just-
Thank you, Deb.
my
I was
report.
freezing.
Rebecca, did you have anything for?
I'm gonna pass now.
John, did you have anything?
I
to add?
do,
Yeah.
actually. A couple of quick things, well, I don't know if they're quick, but to be talked about in the future is a resident sent us a email, but I've also been thinking the same thing about how do we get more people involved in the town, the budget decisions. And so that individual had a good idea that I'm gonna copy, but splitting the town meeting and the vote on things like budget and land use ordinance. And the devil's in the detail on that, I understand it, but, we'd talk, I'd just like to get that on an agenda in the not too distant future, because I think the town's future is being decided by 180 people,
Mhm.
and we can do better.
Yeah, real quick to that. So Jerry and I talked about that today. The ship has sailed on that for 2026.
Yes.
But we can start talking about that for 2027 because there are some limitations because now that nomination papers are available for an office, both the budget committee and the select board, there's some that has kind of like set in motion certain
I'm talking,
facets.
yeah,
But I
2027
100%, this is a
budget
recurring
meeting.
theme that has been popping up and talked about more and more over the last handful of years. So, especially as the participation rates in some cases are barely 100 people.
Yep.
That's something, Jerry and I also talked about that, and is that something that has to be decided at the town meeting, or is that something we can decide, I guess we can decide?
Yeah.
Okay.
We can, so the select board can decide that, and I won't get too far into it right now, but that's one of those things that, like, it's tricky because for everyone who wants it, there could be people who don't want it, and then they could really accuse the select board of exercising a lot of authority
Oh, we do.
there too. And so some of the voices that are now speaking out in favor of it have not always been in favor of it. So it seems that there may be some sort of some shift. And so at minimum, we could use the municipal election or this upcoming meeting to do some sort of a straw poll. Now, the irony of doing a straw poll at the town meeting as to whether we should have a town meeting isn't lost upon me. So maybe we could look at for the municipal or the primary election or something like that. But yeah, very good point, John.
My other one is, you're looking at I don't know if the budget number is, but the financials that we got from Jerry this afternoon. I'm concerned about a couple of the lines, particularly mostly actually on revenue. And we seem to be falling way short on some of our revenue numbers. And this is a future discussion to go over them in more detail and not hurry through it tonight, but, you know, some of the numbers are, and realize some of these are still ongoing, but it looks like we may be 400,000 short in motor vehicle. State revenue sharing, 220,000, homestead, these are all shortages, 112,000. So seems to me that we're not bringing in money the way we thought we were, which has a budget impact, and it's something we need to just review with some time, not rushing through it the last 15 minutes.
Yeah, no, we won't cover that now. And then,
So I would just like to see that on the agenda, because it is a significant amount of money on the revenue side,
Mhm.
or so it seems. I may be wrong, and before the next meeting, somebody can show me where my math is wrong.
Yeah, we can, I'll talk with Jerry and Mark, and we can put that on a future, yeah,
And that is it.
perfect.
Can I have
All right.
it back?
Yeah.
What about the mail that we have seen concerns about the town meeting the same day as the Freeport graduation? And there was some discussion, I think you wrote, there
Yeah,
would have to be a special town, there's had to
So
be a
I-
special
my-
meeting to have that changed.
yeah,
But do we
um,
wanna do anything there or put on an
So-
agenda or something?
what I've been thinking about this a lot. Currently our municipal form of government puts a lot of authority into the legislative body of the town voters via town meeting.
Mhm.
And for every discussion that's being brought up right now amongst a vocal group of people, was discussed at the town meeting, and the town still decided to make that decision, knowing that there was a risk of the school board or the graduation being the same weekend. And so I don't want to fall into the case of like recency bias or listening to the loudest voices or the most current voices to override a overwhelming majority that passed at town meeting. So and then the other thing I think about that is if we were to have a special town meeting, those get so in the past when we've had those have been we usually get accused of abusing power of trying to push something with a low amount of voters, and we might get 40 people who show up. So I think that this personally, this is to me, it's just a case of like the town voters made a decision and they set the meeting and it is what it is. I understand some of the people who are vocalizing frustration right now vocalize that at the town meeting and the town voters still decided to go a certain way. So I don't want to override the town voters, or appear that we're trying to override the town voters who did make time to attend the town meeting and have that sort of vote. So that's where I kind of fall on it personally. But if anyone has other additional thoughts or anything, shoot me an email or have a discussion. We can talk
I
about
don't
it.
disagree. We can address the upcoming, like the 2027 town meeting
Yes.
this year. So, I mean, I think that's a good point. It was a topic of discussion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the voters voted for it and we should respect that.
Mhm. Perfect. Alrighty. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
John, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Rebecca? I mean,
Deb.
No,
Deb? Sorry. I'm not sleeping much right now. Any questions or discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, passed unanimously. We do need an executive session tonight for personnel. I can't remember what that number is. It does not say, it says, it's not on the, it's not, the number isn't written on the agenda, no.
Probably got it.
But either way, I would like to preemptively,
405-6A.
405-6A, yep. Personnel. I would like to preemptively extend our meeting till 9:15. Not that I think we will need it, but I don't want to have to end executive session, come out, extend the meeting, go back into executive session.
Do you want to just say 9:30 to be on the safe side?
Sure. So I would like to make a motion myself to extend the meeting until up to 9:30. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? Again, I don't anticipate we need that. I just for timekeeping or for record keeping. So, all in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none. All right, I will now take a motion to move into executive session pursuant to 405-6A, personnel matter.
So moved.
That was moved by Josh. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All right, from Rebecca, for real this time. Any discussions or questions? Oh,
I was just gonna say, should we have done the upcoming meetings now?
oh,
Because-
yeah, but, yeah,
Sorry.
sorry, Josh, I'll let you withdraw your motion.
Thank you.
Upcoming meetings, open space planning community event, February 26th here at the Eureka Center. Very excited to see the results of that. That's here, over at the Eureka Center, not here, at 6:30. Really excited to see that. I know a couple board members will be in attendance. I will not due to a commitment with GP Cog, but we'll definitely follow up. Ag committee meeting is March 4th at the Eureka Center at 6. Planning board meeting March 4th at the fire station at 6:30. Solid waste committee meeting March 9th at the Eureka Center at 6:30. Select board meeting March 10th at 6:30, and that's also when we're gonna have a open discussion on the pay-as-you-throw system
And a meeting with.
and the meeting with the superintendent. And then a public hearing on proposed land use ordinance changes on March 18th, 2026 at 6:30 at the fire station. I will now entertain a motion to enter executive session pursuant to 405-6A personnel matter.
So moved.
Before we do, can we tape, I know it's a pain in the butt, can we tape the Conservation Commission, the open space thing?
They can.
I mean, you know, I know it's a pain in the butt, but the way we did the, that one select board meeting,
Oh, the open space meeting?
the open space.
Mm. Yeah.
They are
ma-
talking about recording it.
Yeah,
Okay.
can-
Oh, they are?
Yeah.
Yep, okay, that's
Okay,
good.
super.
We should support that if there's opportunity to do so.
I
So-
think if people need to hear it and don't want to come out.
So now for real, this time I will entertain a motion to enter executive session pursuant to 405-6A personnel matter.
So moved.
I'll
Josh,
second.
Rebecca, any questions? All right, all in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none? All right,
I'm just gonna
We
make sure
are
nobody's
entering-
listening.
There's also-
We had to turn off the
yeah, at 6:46, or sorry,
8:46.
8:46 PM.
Alrighty. 2 hours.
I gave you the nice chair.
I know you
today. I
did.
was really polite,
I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That was that.
only because I
What-
did my exercises today.